Good morning. Good morning to everyone, each and every one of you out there in TV land. Good morning. Yeah, it's getting later, but it's still kind of early. I guess on the East Coast, you guys are almost noon o'clock, as they say. Yes. So hey, everyone, RT Bear here, almost 40-year comic book veteran, working for mainly Marvel, DC, but I've done a little time with an upstart company, a little publishing company called Image Comics, in the day in the '90s when things were good, money was great, people were happy. We were creating comic books that people seemed to like, much like now with Comicsgate. Much like now with Comicsgate, with freaking Godlike. Holy shite balls! I should have opened up a tab. Let me see. I'm gonna do a little focus on John Malin. If you don't know, John Malin is a superb artist in his own right. Holds his own against all of us here at this wacky Comicsgate place, and he's got a oh my gosh, I'm looking at the total. Uh, I'll get into it right now. We'll just start off the show with kudos to John Malin, and then we'll get into the heart of the show. We're gonna have Andy Smith. We're gonna have Andy Smith on. We're gonna be talking First Man. I want to thank you guys about all the success that Chrono's had in the last day or so, and yeah, and maybe whatever you guys want to talk about as well in the chat. So let's share this craziness. You guys are the best, man. This is godlike. This is John Malin's new book. The Romulus saga. 10,000 years from now, the galactic wars have ended and a new dark age has begun. So this is John's sixth campaign, and a little over a day, he generated over 100K, 107,164, 954 backers. That's the big number. Almost 1,000 backers in pretty much one day. 29 days left. This is pretty crazy. I was on a stream with John. I think it was Ethan's channel, and he was generating, was it $1,000 a minute, something like that. Just crazy. And the book looks great. He doesn't have a lot of artwork, but what he is putting out here is enough to whet the appetite, because it's really well done. These colors are great. I was commenting on the color scheme of the godlike character here. We've seen blues and reds together before, but not quite these blues and these reds. Looks very, very original. Here's some of the interior pages. These look like double page spreads. So just because of the layout, there's the godlike character. These colors are phenomenal. These layouts are pretty stunning. Yeah, John is delivering here. Look at this. Yeah, this looks like a double page as well. So here's John. He loves Frank Miller, so this is John doing Frank Miller. Doing Frank Miller doggy style. No, he's not. That's a joke, a bad joke. Yeah, this is really phenomenal. All the arrows look cool. The guns. Yeah. John knows how to deliver. This is this is Kyle Ritter doing a Frank Frazetta. I remember Kyle and I did a black and white Vampirilla cover, and I sent him, because I wanted it kind of, I was looking at Frank Miller, not that it, my drawing looks like Frank Miller, but I was looking at a lot of Frank Miller when I did the cover layout. And when I sent the line art over to Kyle, I said, hey, I'm digging Frank Miller. I dig these color schemes. So I sent him over about 4 or 5 different covers and paintings of Frank Frazetta. And I said, hey, I'm not saying color it like this, but here, maybe this can, you can get some inspiration from it. And And he did. And I had no idea he was this much of a Frank Frazetta fan. And so, sometimes you just kind of find that niche. And hell, man, look at this. This looks great. What is this for? This is the Visions, I think. Let me see. It's a supplemental book, I believe. Oh yeah, it's Visions 2. So I think what he's doing with Visions is let me see if there's a write-off. Visions, a comic will be carefully placed in protective sleeve. I think what it is, subject matter-wise, it's your IP, I think I heard him say. So these are pinups of different Comicsgate IPs, I believe. I'm not completely sure. So much to keep track of. But anyways, you guys, come by. Back Godlike looks fantastic. And 29 days left. And let's see if we can get him to 1 million. Holy shit, man. That would be crazy. And but before we go any further and before I send Andy Smith the link, I want to get serious with you guys for a while. My buddy Joe Thunderbuns Fulton is in the hospital right now, and he contracted COVID. And as these things do, they go to the lungs, and so he was hospitalized a couple days ago, and so he's in good spirits, but I think his lung capacity is pretty next to none. So I was hoping we could get some prayers, some good thoughts, and just hoping for a speedy recovery, brother. So Joe, I know you're strong, and I know you can kick this thing's ass. So just know you got me, you got Comicsgate, and all your friends and family behind you on this. So well wishes, prayers, and to a speedy recovery, brother. I hope you get out of that hospital soon. Nobody likes that shit. Hospitals are a drag, no matter what. So Oh, cool. We got Joe. Some prayers, positive vibes for your boy Joe. We got Lord Crackhead, get well soon, Joe. We got God bless, sending prayers now. We got the boob rancher. Wish you the best, Joe. Get well soon. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. He's a good guy. He's trying so hard right now to get his books going and to hold on for a sec. Allergies. I don't like to do that on mic. Actually, I just realized my mic is all the way across the table. I hope you guys can hear me good. Let me move my mic closer. There we go. Hope that's better. And Neon Todd, for sure. He's trying real hard to get things going. He's got a family. He's got little ones. Hold on for a sec. Gosh, this is not good. Yes. I hung out and had breakfast outside, and there's a little bit of a breeze, so I think got a little bit of pollen or something. I'll be okay. I'm okay. Yeah. So let's just hope for the best. I do believe he'll be okay, but he's just been through so much with his family and this freaking COVID nightmare. It's just absolutely insane. It just kind of keeps giving, doesn't it? And I know I've said on the live streams before, I said that still to this day, I don't know anybody firsthand that has come down with COVID. I'm not a denier, but I'm just saying that it possibly isn't as widespread as they let on. And so Joe, sadly, is the first one that I know personally that has come down with it. So It's not good. So I'm gonna catch up with you guys in the chat. We got gaming or what? We got Matthew. We got Razmaz doing the Razmaz in the chat. We got Joe Bernardo, Jeff Potts. Hey, if you guys could make sure you're subscribed, and if you want, possibly tweet this sucker out. Yeah. I'm gonna. That book looks really good. Mandy and Peter Gilmore have Jack the Ripper, and the book looks great. They launched a few days ago, and I'm gonna have Peter on this show. I hope we can get Mandy as well. They're both a blast to hang out with. Yeah, so go check that out as well. Let's see. Joe says, and there were no agendas by SJWs back in the day. Oh, in 90, yeah, 94, yeah. Drop Dead. We have Vilnid. We have Leg Kick. We got 24 Eyes. I think we pretty much are caught up here. So, we got Pedro Eng in the chat, in the house, in the hizzy. Hell chat for sure. We are rooting for you, Joe. Indeed. Yes. Oh, okay. We lost a local artist to that crap. If you get it in your lungs, go to the hospital. Yeah, both my wife and I, if we came down with it, we would definitely be hospitalized. I have scoliosis, so I don't have lung capacity. So most people have from their thumb to their pinky in their entire chest cavity. I only have about this much room for my heart, my lungs, and everything. So if I just get a cold or the flu, it always goes to my lungs. And I have an inhaler if it gets really bad, and that keeps me out of the hospital. But if I caught this, I think I wouldn't F around. I would go straight to the hospital. And Pamela's got some health issues as well. She's got a compromised immune system. I came down with COVID, and it put me in the hospital in February. Brian Shearer came down with it at the same time. Oh shit, yeah, it does. I'm not a denier, that's for sure. I think my main problem is with just the lockdowns and the masks and other of the mandates. Art will be pissed if they close the mall and he can't join the local mall walkers group. I think that's an old person joke. I don't like that. Pum Spank? Yeah. Hey. Yeah, it's the oxygen levels. The oxygen levels are doing much better. He's tough. I think he'll be fine. I do too. Yeah, he's such a trooper. He's kind of worried about progress on Black and White. If you guys haven't heard, Joe and I are working together on the writing of Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine. And we still have an ending, like 4 pages of an ending to kind of clarify, and an epilogue to finalize. So we got a lot of ideas. We just have to sign off on them. And so I told him, I said, man, don't worry about it. Just get better. I had COVID earlier this year, and it lasted 2 months. I needed oxygen for a month. I didn't go to the hospital, though, and I have degenerative lumbar scoliosis. Oh, shit. Yeah, my scoliosis isn't degenerative. Sorry. I had surgery when I was young, so they straightened it out as much as they could, and I have 2. They fused my spine, and I have 2 rods. I don't think it's like alloy metal in my back, so I have perfect posture. We got Joe Hell Art, congratulations on Chrono Mechanics. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get that before I got um, Andy in here. But I'm going to get Andy in here, and then we'll go over it together. All right, I just sent that. Oh man, that's cool. Billy just, I'm reading in the private chat, says, congrats, Art, on a great campaign. Sorry I missed, couldn't join in. I was at Terrificon. For sure. And then he's asking if he could come on the show. Always, Billy, you're always welcome. He's got the She Omnibus, and I think he's over 100K between the two campaigns as well. So yeah, indie books going strong. So yeah, I'll get into the Chrono stuff. Let me share this just to brag on you guys for a couple minutes. Yeah, this is crazy. So Chrono Mechanics is now closed. So we closed a couple days ago. So I think it was early Saturday, we were at 53K, a little over 53K. So we got all the way up to 58,274 within that day. It was absolutely phenomenal. So over $5,000 worth of business. We got 864 backers. That is way more than I thought this little book could do. So that's all because of you. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. You turned this thing into a colossal hit. I still think it's phenomenal when I see these numbers, 58K. That is so amazing for one book. That shows you the power of this indie platform that we've built for ourselves, this Comicsgate platform, and just you guys out there, your love for these projects, you know. So once again, these books are done, and they will be going out ASAP. So Pamela's got a couple books to put together for you guys. So it's going to take a little longer than usual, just because of how much business we did in the last day or so. But the good thing is everything is done. All the variants are printed. The main book is printed. The work in progress book is printed. All the trading cards, everything is done. So you guys, thank you so very much for this. I do appreciate it. Saturday was one of those high points for me. Not only did Chrono Mechanics do very, very well, but we also launched John Malin's Godlike, and he did so well. So I'm really, really happy with this Comicsgate thing that we're all building together. I think it's phenomenal. I still can't believe that it exists. It's absolutely amazing. And here is the man of the hour, the man who helped Chrono get to that point. And I
tried to do my best. I always try. So
well, you did, man. You and Deadwood Dale. I had no idea Dale was so drunk on the stream. He seemed drunk.
I know.
Did you see him? He went over to Ethan's right after.
No, I went and crashed out, but I saw the next day. Yeah, I heard that.
He was a handful, so Ethan had to bounce him.
Man, that is crazy.
So Andy, we dodged that bullet.
I know, right? Well, did you not go over to Ethan's stream?
Oh, I did.
You did? Oh, okay.
I came in after Dale was already done away with. Yeah.
Oh. That's funny.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for coming in, hanging out, helping me close Chrono Mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
It was a blast. And I think you were a little tipsy there as well.
No, I was okay. Pedro Ang says I'm the buffer of Comicsgate. I guess that's better than the fluffer. I don't quite know what the buffer is.
I don't know what it is either. But if you were the fluffer,
I know what a fluffer is. So I'm going out saying I'll take being the buffer any day of the week.
Well, you don't know if that's any better, though. It could be worse.
I will say I can actually take credit for one sale of Chrono Mechanics, because during the stream, I sent Dennis a message and I said, Dennis, just so you know, he's closing it tonight. I'm on his stream right now. So if you haven't got it yet, this is it. And he wrote back, he goes, just did it. Thanks for the reminder. So,
well, thank you. And thanks to Dennis as well. Dennis is your co-partner on your live streams, right?
Yeah.
He's great. You guys have a ton of chemistry, man.
We try.
Good show. Yeah, you just launched your YouTube channel. Was it earlier this year?
No, well, I mean, I've had a YouTube channel like probably most people for years just to get it, and then it sits there. But I started actively doing something with it just a couple months ago. Really doing something compared to just every other month going, oh, here's a drawing video in 30 seconds time lapse. And
yeah.
And
no, you're getting subs, man. People are coming around. It takes time.
Oh yeah.
But it's nice to see that people are subbing to your channel and giving Andy Smith some loving.
That's right. Pedro.
Some fluffering.
I know. A job is a job. It is true, Pedro. A job is a job. But I think there's some jobs that I'm like, well, it's better than McDonald's. But I think
that's not better than McDonald's.
I was going to say, if I had a choice, I would go to McDonald's. So
yes, a quarter pounder, flipping a burger, taking an order, versus yanking a guy's junk.
That's right. That's right. There's only one guy that yanks this junk, and it's this guy. Specifically, this guy right here.
That hand? Do you have a name for your hand?
I'm a righty. What can I say?
What can I say?
I mean, there is that joke that if you want strange, switch to your left hand. But
yeah, do you feel like you're cheating on yourself with your left?
No, I like to, when I leave the dentist office after they Novocaine my face, I ask them if they'll just hit me in my right hand with a little bit of the, the numbing stuff. And they're like, why? And I'm like, you don't need to concern yourself with it. I just want to go home and think it's strange.
Oh my gosh. You made a masturbation joke to your dentist? You have no shame, my friend.
I have zero.
I love it, man. I usually have to get a few more drinks in me before I.
No.
You were pretty inebriated with the painkiller. You're probably.
Yeah. No, I don't need drinking. When I was in the radio, we were talking to my buddies and I doing the radio show back in the day. We were talking about what to bring on a date, and I said, the go-to items when I go on a date are a baseball bat and duct tape. Those two things, and I'm good to go.
And make sure the trunk is empty so you can fill it up.
Well, you can't really have the trunk empty because the trunk is usually filled with lots of bags of lye. So, have you ever seen that stuff?
So horrible if something actually happens, and then everybody can look back at these live streams and go, Andy wasn't pretending like
that dude wasn't messing around. Have you ever seen that? Like, I've actually seen that stuff, that lie stuff in action from the standpoint of a deer. When I was going to the Kubert school way back in the day, as I always like to say, it was up in upstate Jersey. And I remember driving to school down the main road, and on the right-hand side of the road, off the road was a deer. Somebody hit it. They either moved it or crawled and died, whatever. I remember the next day driving to school, and I was like, oh, that's still the deer, but there was like there was white stuff just mounded over top of it, right? Which I assumed actually at the time I didn't know what it was. I was just like, that's weird. Why would somebody pour this white, sand-like stuff all over top of this deer? And then as I drove by and the days went by, the mound just got smaller and smaller, and it was that lye stuff. So after a good period of time, there was like nothing left.
Does it eat through bone too?
No, I don't know if it does.
Tissue, right?
Yeah, I think just soft tissue, but there was nothing left to the point of you could easily dispose of it, I guess, compared to just, the city picking up a carcass or whatever. I don't know. I was just amazed. I was so amazed by, well, dude, I'm amazed by the sickest shit. Like, there's for people that do for CSI techs and stuff like that, there's those, God, what's it called? I guess they're called boneyards, where they put, people that passed away and donated their bodies to science. They put them out in different ways in like this area to see how they'll decompose for teaching purposes. You've heard of those, right?
No.
You've never heard of those before?
I don't really have any interest in this stuff.
Yeah, it's a body farm. Henry Bemis. It's a body farm.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I've seen documentaries on them, because they'll for instance take a body and just lay it out, just like somebody dumped it. And then they'll take a body and they'll be like, all right, let's put it in one of those big oil drum things and see how long that takes. Then they'll take one and bury it a little bit, and they'll do all these different things so they can measure the time of decomposition. So, I mean, that's how they learn this stuff for when they go out to a scene.
Well, haven't we learned these things already? Like, people are still learning this stuff?
Well, I guess. I mean, I will say it's been probably a good 10, 15 years since I've seen something like that on a documentary, but I assume that they still, it's ever evolving, Art. It's
every generation needs to learn how the body decomposes. So they need to see it for themselves firsthand.
Yeah.
Things might change. You never know.
Can you honestly tell me, Art, when you were growing up and you were a teenager, and I mean, I know you were in California, so I don't know if it was kind of like you grew up in like, were there wooded areas near where you grew up, or no?
No,
no.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem, because I grew up on the East Coast, lots of wooded areas, and we would go through these woods just going to school. There'd be a shortcut and you'd walk through these woods, and there'd be bike trails and whatever. And we'd always be like, dude, what would we do if we like tripped and then we rolled over and it was like a hand sticking out of the ground and we came across a body? What would you do? We just kind of think to ourselves, I don't know, I guess we'd go call the cops or, whatever, So I don't know.
I did that, but we didn't have wood. So there was one. It was there. Where was it? It was Norwalk, so it's LA County, and there were 3 founders, and they had sizable properties in Norwalk, and so there were big trees and kind of somewhat wooded areas. So we used to go in one of the Patterson house or whatever it was, their yard. And so just leaves, piled up like this, enough basically to cover a body, So I think secretly we were hoping to find a body. And I think we thought, like, if we found a body, it would be kind of like a cold case. You know what I mean? Like, we could put it into a cold case. Like, this guy was missing for X amount of, years, and these kids, found it. And then, we get our names in the newspaper or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It must be universal. I don't know if it's a female thing, but it was a guy thing. Yeah, we used to go out and just kind of hunt around in these areas. Yeah, secretly hoping to find a cadaver.
I totally think it's a guy thing, but here's the one thing that is universal. If it ever happened, guys or girls would be like, "Oh, wow, all right, I guess we should call the cops." But if you ever come across a dog or something, you're just like, "Oh my God, who could do that?" It's like that whole thing where it's like, you see on the news, an apartment building burned down and, 10 lives were lost. And, you're just like, wow, that really blows. And then they go, and a dog. And you're like, what? A dog? Are you kidding me? A dog died. And people just freak out. But but when it's like, 10 lives were lost, 10 souls, you're just like, oh, man, that really sucks. A dog.
Because dogs are like innocent, right? Like, it's like you have to protect them, And so when you hear this stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, somebody didn't protect that dog. That's horrible. That poor beast. Yeah, but I kind of do know. I was older when we moved. I lived in the beach area. That's where I met my wife.
Yeah.
Redondo Beach, and then we moved more inland, and then we kept moving more inland to almost the desert. And so there's a place called Corona, and it's the outskirts of Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills. And so it's all hilly, and there's the Cleveland National Forest there. So the whole backyard was just a hill, and then the forest was behind it. So we got to see kind of the wilderness and cadaver, not bodies, but like just like
Right.
even big like deer or like
Yeah.
rabbits
Yeah.
and things like that. And so yeah, you see bones and you see carcasses and things like that. So I kind of do have that experience, but I don't have it as like so much of a when I was a kid. Here now we live in Texas, so it's all wood. It's woodlands. That's what it's called. So we're
Right.
surrounded by just everything. So armadillos, raccoons, snakes galore, yeah, everything. So yeah, it's pretty weird. So you want to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, something that has a number
Oh,
one.
I thought we were.
That'll be your next book, man.
Well, I'll continue first, man. He'll be a detective in the next one, dealing with
He's
cosmic dead
going
people.
out. He's just taking a leisurely walk in the woods. And he trips over something hard, and then he looks and he uncovers it. And it's like it's a
Well, Art, I have actually been walking myself and tripped over something hard, but it's usually something hard that's attached to me. So, just saying. Dude, you open the door, I'm going to walk through. That's all I'm saying, Art.
Or trip through because it's so big, apparently.
Or trip through, exactly. I'll pole vault. I can pole vault, and I don't even need to grab an extra stick to do it.
They call you the tripod.
That's right.
Oh yeah, wait. Henry Bemis, you're bringing back some good times. I grew up in LA County too. It was common for people to find dead hobos in the river. Yeah, it's funny because I always wanted that Huck Finn, Mark Twain kind of like adventures out in the wilderness. There's a cave and you go inside the cave and you explore and things like that. So we didn't have that, but what we had growing up is we had the LA riverbed. So it's just concrete.
Yeah.
And so you'd have adventures and there would be like a stream. So there's like water that's flowing through the middle of it. So it's as close to any kind of like stream and any kind of like outdoor adventures we would have. So we would ride our bikes down there, and then we would either ride, I guess it was north, because if you went north, then the concrete turned into sand and to rock. And so there would be like pools of water. It wouldn't be like a stream, but there'd be pools of water, and there would be like frogs and pollywogs and all kinds of stuff. So you could actually, collect frogs. And I'd collect frogs and bring them back to the house and scare my mom because they live under the house. And then, they start off as like little frogs, and then, you scare your mom with this big freaking toad.
Now the LA River, because I've seen it from when I visit, but on TV growing up, it was police chases and whatever. I mean, what is the most? Because that thing, from the base of it, the base to the top, if you measured the height, how high is that? Do you think?
50, 60 feet.
I mean, what's the most in your lifetime when you grew up there that thing ever filled up? Do you think?
I've never seen it completely full, but I've seen it probably 3/4 of the way full.
Have you really?
Yeah, and it's usually when because there's water that dams up, so they have, it's not just like water that drains in from like communities and stuff. There's actually these like flood controls, so they open those things up and it just pours in. So I think it was a combination of just a lot of rain, runoff from the hills, because it's also runoff from the hills and stuff like that, and then just these dams and different runoff. Because I know that like in Corona, we had a lot of rain, and so the dam was filling up, and so they had to, because it was cracking, it was compromised, because I guess they didn't think they would ever get that full. So there's a lot of pressure on the wall, so they had to kind of quickly get rid of the water. And so what it ended up doing is it ended up flooding the area because more water was coming out than that canal could fill. And so it actually got under the concrete. And I don't know if you've ever seen like water get under concrete, it'll just pick it right up, man.
Oh yeah, push. Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's like a lot of why concrete driveways crack is because, on either side is just your yard and water can seep underneath because the concrete's only, that thick for your driveway. And then that plus settling and stuff will just, push it up. And yeah.
Speaking of water, man, it's pouring out right now.
Are you serious? I was going to say, once again, because of how your lights are set up, it looks like a sunny day. Like here, it's sun out. People are doing the yards and stuff.
Yeah. The sun is kind of out, but it's pouring, man. I love it here, man, because it'll just rain out of the blue. It'll rain hard for a couple minutes, and then it'll go away, and the sun will come back out. So I guess it's like Florida.
Yeah.
In that regard, yeah. So let's get into something other than your junk and
cadavers
and decomposing. Oh, actually, I don't have the tab. Do you have it there?
Yeah, hold on, I'll share it.
Yeah, I have everybody's tab except for yours.
You son of a!
I know. All right, well here it is. This is Andy Smith's First Man, Volume 2, Learning Curve.
That's right,
Andrew.
We need to keep this campaign growing. I am getting contributions, and it is growing. And the more it grows, the more stretch goals we get for you guys. First Man 2, Learning Curve is the story of Luke Henry. He's only been a hero for about a month after combined time of what happened in Volume 1 to now. And he comes back to Earth after defeating Monarch and now has to learn how to be a hero on Earth in New York. That's where he's from. He goes to NYU. He's a freshman. And it's about the relationship with his parents because they know he's First Man and they know what he can change into, this superpowered being. And now there's a foundation, the Fourth World Foundation, that comes a calling because they created a being named Adonis that they're saying they need his help with. But is it really his help they're looking for? That is why you need to tune in to find out and back this project. So let's watch
the video. The video is killer.
Yeah, let me do that
and make it big. There we go.
That's what she said.
There you go. I set you up again. With a little help from
Penumbra, the ever vivacious, coming to the main stage, shaking that booty, showing the boobages and the cleavagers. Come in, Penumbra, dancing to her favorite tune, AC/DC's Back in Black. The Fourth World Foundation. They're the mother effers of this book. Effers for Foundation.
That logo, that looks incredible, man. That took some time. Back it today.
Yes, let's get this campaign up there and get it growing. Obviously, my dream, I have a new dream, and it's because I aspire to be like John Malin. I aspired in my first 24 hours of a campaign to bust 6 figures. My God, that is fantastic. So, and I'm part of it. I can say I helped do it. So,
I hate John Malin, by the way. I mean, it's all me. Yeah, people think like it's John. I never take credit for it, but John's always like calling me like he's. You know what? He is so insecure. That guy. Like when you see him on live streams, he sounds like he's got it all under control. No. He always calls me. Always calling me. He needs my strength to build him up.
That's right.
So, yeah. So before he does anything, he checks it and runs it by me. Now he's starting to use Andy because he knows Andy knows his shit. So like you said, Andy, it's all us, man.
I hear you. So First Man, you can get the feature tier, which is Volume 1, Volume 2, and the program book. So that is obviously the best deal if you never got volume 1 or the program book, which is a 40-page supplemental that has guest artists with their take on First Man and behind-the-scenes layouts and page design and sketches for the people that like to see how books are made, comics are made.
So did you have to write that 1, 2, and 2 because of the limited space on the feature tier?
Wait, 1, 2, 2 and program book? What do you mean? What?
1, 2, 2, and program.
No, it says volume 1.2 because technically volume 1. I might just change that so it says volume 1. That's actually kind of confusing.
Yeah. Well, I can't see the dot. I see it now.
Yeah, I'm going to change that when we're done. Actually, just calling it volume 1.
But that
because that's how I refer to it anyhow. So
yeah, that's the one to get right there.
But yeah, so there's that, and then I always ask my buddy. Well, here's some of the story stuff which I went over. Here's some preview art. Talking to art, showing preview art.
That's the romance right there. That's how you flirt with the superhero.
This is the original romance of Apollo and Penumbra, and you find out in volume 1 what happened between them. No spoilers here.
It's a whole new world for those two.
It is a whole new world.
They don't need no stupid magic carpet.
Magic carpet. Yeah, they don't need a magic carpet. Are you kidding me? They bring the magic to the carpet.
Ooh.
There's our 2-page spread of the hero doing some heroing. Or is he?
Rename this stream. Andy Goes Dirty.
You know it.
It's dirty with Andy.
Getting dirty. Getting down and dirty. One of the perks, become a character in the book. I actually added 3 more to it because I originally only had 1 and it got snapped up. So I was like, well, I'll add 3 more. And I talked to my writer, and basically what we're going to do for that specific page is the top half of the page is going to be 4 panels, all the same size, tall and vertical. And each panel will showcase a close-up of whoever gets that perk. And then the big splash panel is then what they're seeing, which is obviously going to be a fight. I mean, what else would it be? So,
well, that's cool. So they're not just going to be a background character. They're going to get their own panel.
Oh, yeah, they'll be featured. Like on the page that this is from the Jungle Lords Ultra book. This is a panel that goes across the page. So it's basically a horizontal panel, and he's watching what's going on, which is obviously cropped out here. But no, if you're paying $400, besides getting featured in the book, and I want to draw the close-up of you big so you can show people and go, that's me, you also get, hold on, I got to click because I can't remember. You get 4 copies of the book as well. So then, oops, I don't want to back it. I could do that myself. No, so you also get 4 copies of the book, so you can give a copy out to people as well and say, look, Ma, I was in a comic book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's killer, man.
Exactly. So that's that's a fun one. The first one sold, so that's fine. You've got the single figure commission, which you pick the character, the bundle.
Is it one of the First Man characters, or is
no? You can pick whatever character you want. You could be like, Andy, I want you to draw one of the characters of Art's Black and White. You pick the one, and of course I'm picking the chick because that's who I would want to draw.
And that's what you're about, especially right now.
That's right. You got the headshot tier, which same thing. Any character you want, you get a headshot drawn. The Fabulous First Man bundle is all 5 books, so volume 1, volume 2, the program book, and Bart's variant covers from each book. Over here, we've already unlocked.
Is the 15K stretch goal, is that what you're headed towards now?
Yeah, we're getting close to that 15K stretch goal of a metal bookmark. Nice and metal. It'll hurt you.
Wait, I gotta
cut somebody with this thing.
Hold on.
This is just it comes in its own protective condom, as you can see. See that? Oh.
Wow.
And honestly, the thing now this is the bookmark from the first campaign, so the art is different. I have done new art, which I have shown exclusively on my YouTube channel what the new bookmark is going to look like as well. So it's not this. This was just something I had done so I could see the quality of the bookmark.
Well, killer. And that's what are you at? You're over 13, right?
We're 1420,
14.
14238.
Oh, so yeah, you have under what 800,
Yeah,
700 and
762. Is that
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, 762.
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
not bad. Yeah,
Danky,
go ahead.
Danky is asking how much is shipping. It depends on where you are. Shipping in the States, I believe, is $6. So it's not much. And that's, on a Gemini mailer. I love you guys. Lift shirt up. What? He wants us to do that. Flip. Oh, Janet Jackson. Ooh.
I just got banned from YouTube.
Oh, damn it.
You son of a bitch.
God damn it. We're not live anymore. So yeah, shipping in the States is $6. And then, the more stuff you buy.
I'm sorry. Danky Frankie's questioning me. Art Yorba is not a desert. It's the land of gracious living. It is desert climate. I mean, we are so close to desert climate. I mean, it's maybe not technically, but it's still desert climate. Don't give me that crap.
Is he talking about where you live now or where you used to live?
Where I used to live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. He triggered me. I had to click on that.
I understand. Well, now he knows how much shipping is because it sounds like he lives there. So he's in the land of gracious living.
So I guess he lives in Yorba Linda.
Yeah. So $6 is answers your question.
Okay. So Danky Frankie, let's get on it.
And he also asked if John Byrne is an influence. I mean, John Byrne was an early influence, like I think he was for everybody of our generation. I never, when I first got into business, I think part of the influence I got from Byrne was more background stuff, like how he does buildings and rubble. And I'm really talking about art, the way he inks it. Because the dude, if you look at like rubble and debris that he does, it looks awesome. But then when you actually focus in and really look at what he did inking wise,
it's nothing.
It's nothing. It's just
a bunch of shapes and brush strokes. Yeah. Yeah,
it's a magic trick, and that's what. And same with his buildings. I remember getting Man of Steel when it came out in the 1986, the Superman stuff, and even his Fantastic Four stuff in New York. And you could tell obviously the Empire State Building he referenced, Twin Towers he referenced, but then other buildings you could just tell he was making up, but they look so good,
Yeah. Even his tech looked somewhat organic, which was cool. So it didn't look sterile.
His tech is all based on like Sid Mead. If you look at Sid, I've got one Sid Mead design book, which is just glorious. And it's so Byrne. That double page spread in X-Men where he's showing the Savage Land, and it's that big compound that's in the background. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That is so awesome. But it's like you said, his tech is organic. But once again, if you just like hone in on it, it's basic shapes with just really cool line work he like puts over it and stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. I actually have the Sid Mead Blade Runner sketchbook. Oh. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah.
How old is that? Is that like that didn't come out?
I've had that thing forever. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It came out around the time of the movie, and so it's got Deckard's gun. It's got all that all the little machinery. The environments, the cars, everything. It's pretty killer. And some of them are line art. So some of it's not all painting. So it's neat to see some of this line art. I dig his line art.
Oh, I love they just put out a book. I'm going to say in the past 5 years, because I know I got it a few years ago. That's really thick on Sid Mead's design work. And it has both color and black and white stuff in it. And just the way he would use, basically, it looks like he was just slapping that inking down with a felt tip pen back in the day, is just gorgeous.
Yeah,
that's where I think Byrne got a lot of like his inking technique for the backgrounds he does from.
That's exactly where I was going with it. Yeah, that's exactly because I was looking. I usually have it on my bookshelf, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, because he uses that marker, and it's not like a tech pen. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
like thicks and thins, and there's a lot of organic movement and stuff to Sid Mead's stuff, so
Mhm.
it's not sterile. And yeah, I think you're right on with that. And also just like those little like walls that have like tech inside of them. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
like these little shadowed like shapes and stuff that are hinted at but not really defined. I remember when I mean, we like you said, we were all influenced by that. So, even on Superman, when I was working with Dan Jurgens, we did stuff
Yep.
like that. And
All right,
then,
I want to find that book because I know where it is, and I want to show you.
yeah, Jim Lee had.
Oh, Jim Lee stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. I knew I'd find it. Right here. Yeah, Art, if you don't have this book, you definitely got to get it.
Yeah, I can't find mine. This is so weird. It's usually right in sight because I still look at it all the time. Let me see. Oh, I don't have that one.
Look how thick it is.
I have the ones that he used to sell himself at San Diego Comic-Con. There was 2 of them.
Oh, the red and blue one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got those. Those are way old. Yeah. Well, like, hold on. Like, well, this breaks it down by movie, too. So just to give you an idea, like, hold on. I'm looking. Yeah, this breaks it down. So it starts, it's like Star Trek, Strange Days, The Core, Topeka, Aliens, 2010, Belittled, Blade Runner. And it's a 250-page book, but like, hold on, let me
find the Blade Runner stuff. Let me see if those are the drawings that I
check that out.
Oh my god!
And even like the robot on the back cover is very Byrne-esque.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me get to the Blade Runner stuff. Hold on. Let's see, page 88. 70 pages of Blade Runner stuff in this book.
The only problem with those books is they're so nice. Like usually if you're like me, Andy, when I'm working and I find reference, I don't treat it very nice. And so if it's a nice art book and it's on the table, it gets jacked.
Well, this is the color thing from Blade Runner, obviously.
Yeah, that's in no, that's not in the book. Now I'm thinking about the book. I think it's all black and white line art.
If you're talking about are you talking about the red and blue ones or just a Blade Runner?
No, it's just a book on Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, no, I've never seen that.
And it's so I'm sure it came out as a hardback, but I have the soft-bound version of it.
Yeah, and this is a combination of sketches and colors.
Yeah,
stuff.
That's the stuff.
Yeah,
the sketches, those drawings and things, those are in the book.
Yeah.
But
this book is just phenomenal, just design stuff, and you've got the art of John Byrne, right?
No,
you don't have the art of John Byrne, the thin book that the cover image is a few of the Avengers in an alleyway, and ROG 2000's walking towards him. And you know the book I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh my gosh, it's old, right? It's
84, 83.
Yeah, I think I have it.
Yeah, that if you look at some of the sketchbook stuff in the back of that, architecture stuff, as a kid, I had no idea. But now that I know Sid Mead, I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, this just looks like Sid Mead.
Was Byrne using like on the figures and stuff? Is that brushwork? It looked
for what?
Like when he'd ink himself, like the figures and things, when John would ink.
He said back on like Alpha Flight, when he was inking that, I want to say I read where he was using a pen, and then for not like a dip pen, but some type of marker, I think. And then for the actual outline, he would just go back and forth and fill it in to get the thick. Yeah. But if you look at the rendering, you can tell the rendering because it's more sketchy looking as pen.
So then he's just using, because Neil Adams, what does he use? Because he actually gets thins and thicks with a pen.
Back in the day or now?
Both, like even in the day.
Back in the day, he was the one that I remember saying he used the 290 pen because you could get that real brush look with it, with the thin and thick, and you could get the real fine pen lines like Stan Drake, because that's where he learned from, was Stan.
No. Like he was using probably the continuity time when it looked more like a marker.
Maybe it was because it came from advertising, and that's what those guys used a lot. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like Sid Mead, there's got to be a certain type of pen. I usually know the name.
Dude, I want to say it was just one of those old school, because I remember him as a kid, and this isn't an age joke because we always do those. But no, I know we're 8 years apart or so in age, but you remember the Pilot fine point pens, markers from back then?
Were they felt tips?
Yeah.
So you could get a thin to thick on them. I know it's something else though.
Kind of.
I saw because I used to hang out when I'd go to New York. I'd hang out at Continuity and I'd watch those guys draw. And they had, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the pen, but there is a pen that advertisers use, and it has that kind of natural kind of.
I would love
those
to
brush pens it's not like those brush pens they use now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Now, from what I've seen Neil do at conventions, he uses the Zebra fine point brush pen. That's it's felt that flexible, and he uses that because he says for him, it's almost like using a 102, and then obviously there's no dipping. So I don't know.
That would be anything like a 102.
It kind of feels like it. I have one on my desk that I use for some rendering and stuff, and if you pull it, it kind of feels like it in a way.
Does it really? I have to admit, I've only used one of those Insta brushes or whatever a few times, and I didn't really care for it. I actually like a brush. I like dipping it in.
Oh yeah, I use both. So
I like dipping it in. You didn't take.
Oh yeah. That's what she said. Well, I mean, I use both. I use a brush. I use a real brush. I use a Raphael 8406 number 3 for all figure work. But then for rendering, to give it a more illustrative type of look, I actually use the Zebra brush pen that I was telling you that Neil uses, and I flick it away from me for the feathering. So I don't pull towards me. I flick it away out of the black area, so it goes from thick to thin, but because I'm flicking it, it really tapers, and sometimes there's a little dry brush at the end of it and stuff. So that's how I do all the rendering these days on figure work.
And it dries pretty quick, right? That ink.
Oh yeah, dude, it dries like that. Yeah.
I think.
And I use smooth paper. I don't use vellum surface. I use smooth, and it still dries quick. Yeah. So.
Oh, vellum. I hope those days are completely gone. I hated that stuff.
Oh, God. I remember DC sent me a batch of paper at one point, and I specifically said the smooth stuff. They're like, okay. And it got lost in communication between the editor and the assistant, and I got a big batch of vellum, and I'm just like, oh, I hate this stuff. It's so rough.
Well, are we talking about the same thing? The vellum is the clear stuff, right? Is like
vellum paper is the rough paper.
Oh, okay. I just thought that was hard and cold press. The difference between.
Well, I mean, they call it that too, but like if you go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's in the Bristol board paper section, it'll either say smooth or vellum, and vellum's the rough stuff.
That's right. It does. Yeah. But I was talking about that transparent stuff.
Oh, I hate that. I hated that. Oh.
Yeah.
Hated it.
A nightmare. Like you sometimes. Oh well, this page got lost or whatever. But we have the Xerox of it. It's like, could you ink this on vellum? It's like, yeah, I could, but I don't want to. And the thing is, you learn that you put down like all the lighter lines first, because the more ink, that stuff just kind of like.
Oh, well, when I was doing ink samples at the Kubert School, I can't remember who suggested doing this because, before I would take the photocopy of the pencils and just tape the vellum down to it. But then I remember, and this was a godsend for whoever suggested it, taking the movable spray mount. So not the spray mount that once it's down, you're screwed, but the type that it literally says on the can, it's movable, so you can reposition it.
Glue it to the paper.
I'd spray the photocopy and then gently rub the vellum down over top, no air bubbles. And it was great because, when you would tape it down, air would get underneath and you'd have to press. But when you glued it down, no air. And because of that extra layer of thickness of the photocopy to the vellum, when you filled in black areas, it didn't really do that crinkling up.
Yeah.
And then when you were done, you could just slowly peel off the photocopy. And then there'd still be some sticky residue. So I would just take an 11 by 17 piece of, photocopy paper and just attach the vellum to that.
And then
instead,
you white background, which is better.
Yeah, and you have the white background.
Yeah, which is better for copying anyway. Yeah, that's the thing is like in the day, being a West Coaster, we weren't around other artists. You know what I mean? So all those like little tips and things, we didn't know. We were kind of coming up with them on our own. And so when they would go, "Oh, can you ink on vellum?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And they'd send me the vellum, and then I'd ink on it. I had no idea that you could kind of glue it down and do stuff like that. So yeah, I learned that stuff a lot later after the fact, because they remember when they used to do like color hold. So if you did a color hold, you did it on vellum. So in the day, you guys, old comics, if you saw like line art printed in a color, so sometimes they would do that with what was it, Firestorm, right? The floating head that would talk to him.
Yeah,
that would be like a knockout or a color hold. And so what we would do in the day is we would ink that on a separate piece. So the penciler would still draw it usually on the board, but then he would instruct like, "Hey, could you ink this on a piece of vellum or whatever?" And so you would ink that on vellum. So then when they did the printing process, they would print them separately. So that would be printed in a color. And
the other way they did it too, if it was a big thing like you're talking about, like a drawing, it would be inked on vellum. But then if it was like the outline of a cloud and you wanted that black line knocked out, you would ink the outline in red. Yeah, and then the printer knew, I guess, from looking at their original black and white art or some shit, that red was supposed to be, the black line was supposed to be taken out, I guess.
Yeah, I think the colorist would when he colored the Xeroxes or whatever, he would see it as a black line, but then they would remove the red line in the printing process. So it would just be color on color kind of idea. It's so primitive, right? Like that's how we had to do. Like if you want to do something subtle in the background, that's how you had to do it. And I remember doing the color holds and the red line, because I would do star fills that way too. So it would just be color. So in lieu of just doing black with white, painted on top, I would just I wouldn't do the black, and then I would just outline little stars with the red marker. And then they would remove that, and then you would just have color with the stars. And it was a lot subtler, because sometimes when you do just black, like a star field, like you have like a couple on top of a building, right? And then you have the black stars and background or whatever. Sometimes it can flatten things. Yep. But if you can do that in a color hold, then it looks more dimensional. And I remember Mike Harlan on Superman just going, "You're killing me here. This stuff is expensive. Every time you do one of these effects, it costs us money." Because I was cutting Xerox and I was putting it on the vellum, the overlays, and I was doing all kinds of stuff. And Brett, is it Breeding?
Brett Breeding, yeah.
Yeah, he and I would just go back and forth. It's like, because we would get the pages, like every week we would get what the team on Superman was doing. We'd have them shipped to us. And so I'd go, "Oh, okay, I'll try that." And so then I would do something, then I'd plus it, and then he would, and it was great. It was great competition. I think I was the right age too, because I was just breaking in. So it was nice. In lieu of being a New Yorker, it felt like there was camaraderie and I could learn from these Xeroxes. Because also, when you see the printed version, you can't really see the ink line that good, especially back then on newsprint. Like sometimes it'd be a little fuzzy. And so seeing nice Xeroxes of like, I don't know, Jerry Ordway's, inks, and then I think Dennis Janke inked him, on that stuff. It's just beautiful.
Did you ever see the one issue of Superman that it was Dan Jurgens did the breakdowns, Andy Kubert inked over Dan?
Yeah, it was great.
That was great because that was at the time period that Andy was still really channeling his dad Joe.
Yeah.
So seeing him ink those Jurgens breakdowns, you're just going, oh my God, this is the closest we'll get to seeing what Joe would do over Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dan's had quite a career, and when you talk to Dan, he's fully aware of it. And I think it's a great idea. He always pencils the same. Like, you're not going to see a lot of change over the years with Dan Jurgens pencils. So what he'll usually do is he'll either do breakdowns or he'll work with a inker that has a very specific look. And so when he goes into a project, he looks for an inker, and he lets that inker kind of define the finished look on the book. And that's a great way to always stay relevant, right? So you always do the same thing, so you can get in, get out quickly, and then you can work with anybody that's willing to take the job. So he can look like the look superficially can change from series to series. And I always thought that was pretty smart. I mean, that's some guy with forward thinking, looking after a career. You know what I mean? Like I'm a story. Like, he looks at himself as a storyteller. More so, like, that's kind of old school, more so than this is my style and I'm going to influence the industry with my style. Dan is very much a storyteller, so he's old school that way. And I always like working with him because he's like, do whatever, So every time I meet Dan, I ink him completely different.
I did 4 issues of Legion over him, and he did breakdowns. He was hired to do breakdowns, and the editor specifically said, do whatever you want. Steamroll it. Doesn't matter. Dan doesn't care. Do whatever you want. So that's what I did. And, I still have my 2 issues because it was 4 issues, and, breakdowns are a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
So I still have my 2 issues, and I know Dan sold his because I know the guy he sold them to because he wanted to get mine. And I was like, no, I'm good for now. But it was fun because you can see Dan, but you can really see more of my stuff because the editor said, go to town, go nuts. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and Dan Jurgens' storytelling is iconic. So when you look at it, no matter who inks it, you kind of know. Stan's pencils are behind it. Yeah, I always thought that was a smart idea, and I think that's probably why he's had the longevity he's had. One of my favorite jobs was it the Superman Aliens? Do you remember those 3?
Oh, by Kevin Nolan.
Oh my gosh!
Anything, Kevin. Well, the thing is, you can look at that, and even though your first instinct is, oh, Kevin Nolan, once you start looking at it, like you said, you can see Dan's storytelling because every penciler has a definitive. After a while, they settle into their definitive way of doing layouts and stuff.
Right.
So you can see that, and then in some of the Superman poses, you're like, oh, that's a classic Dan Jurgens Superman pose. Even though it looks like Kevin, that's not a Kevin Nolan Superman pose because Kevin has his certain poses too, and you're like, oh yeah, that's classic. But do you remember the one? And by the way, I don't catch that at all. You sound fine to me.
Yeah, you sound fine to me as well. I'm going to move the microphone closer, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do anything different. Maybe Donald's just giving me shit.
He's drinking too early. Did you see the second one of those that Nolan inked over John Bogdanov?
No. That would be strange because John is kind of stylized, and so is Kevin.
But once again, it's John's figure proportions with Kevin's finish style.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the second Superman Aliens. Yeah.
Oh, is it? I gotta wait. Hold on. I think I can find it. I got Kevin Nolan inked me on a Batman. It was just like a little convention drawing.
Get out of here! I hate you even more. I've been trying to get Kevin to ink me on something not that big, just anything.
Yeah. That and Kevin Nolan did the forward for my art book.
Yeah, well, I got that, so yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that. Is it in there? Is it printed in there?
Yeah, you know what? It might be on the dust jacket. I I think it's on the dust jacket, and I don't have that here. Gosh darn it! Yeah, the dust jacket has the artwork, and then it has the forward on the inside.
Maybe that's why I don't remember it. Huh. I'll have to look. Yeah, I've been trying to get Kevin to to just ink anything over me anytime.
Yeah, I'll never sell that original. I mean, it's my favorite character, which is Batman. And
dude, you got to show that on the next Professionals or something. I got to see that.
Yeah, I'll find it. I mean, it's on like what is it, like 9 by 12, sketch pads. And it was a slow con, man. And he was sitting behind me, and we were just hanging out. Sometimes you just dive with people. And so
he's great.
I did this drawing, and I was like, you don't have to. I said, but throughout the day, if you want to ink it. And he did not stay true to any of my lines.
My God, I gotta see it now. Well, did you ever see? He inked one cover over Graham on an issue of Batman, and Graham did a classic. It's not a story cover because it's a classic upshot of Batman on a ledge. He's really a lot in shadow, so it wasn't too much for Kevin to play with. So you can tell Kevin inked it, but Graham drew him in so much shadow in the first place that it's like, oh, here's a leg poking out. Oh, here's Batman's chest. The rest goes into shadow. His whole face is in shadow, so there's like really no face, But it's still he inked him once, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to I think we all have those checklists.
Kevin is. I bug him at every con, man. I'm like, come on. Here it is. I took him a sketch cover once that was just breakdowns because I figured, well, what's the point in doing full pencils? So it was just a clean outline drawing of Superman. And he was like, oh, this would take me a while because I got to figure out lighting, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, no big deal. So then I full penciled it and figured maybe if it was full penciled, because then everything's there and he just, does his thing, but it never happened, but I'm still trying. Well,
I'm talking now. Donald, is this better? I got the headphones on. I'm jacked right into the mic here. I never know. Because on these shows, like Andy sounds great to me.
Well, this is the first time I experimented on my show this morning. Instead of using the mic built into my webcam, which is what I've always used, I pulled out my old mic from the radio station days and actually plugged it into a mini soundboard that I have. Yeah, that's what I'm using. I got the pop filter, baby. So I'm not popping my peas. So I'm using this finally, and it worked real well this morning. So I guess I'm just going to use a real mic with my little mixing board from now on.
So can you guys hear me? Is that nice?
Oh, I can. Hey,
now Donald's not going to respond.
Of course he's not. Real quick, I know Bernardo asked a question about detail, as in George Perez or minimal. Yeah, and I did want to touch on that because it's funny. I don't think he wasn't on my live stream today. Maybe he caught the replay because I talked about it. I was showing pages from a Red Sonja Claw miniseries I did. And in one of the panels, I junked it up with a ton of background stuff because they were in the sorceress's library/lab. So I really wanted to establish the scene with bookshelves and beakers. And, it was one of those pay close attention and look at everything. Because even on this one table, real small, there was this dissected animal and stuff, And I really wanted to get the point across. But I said, I come from the school of, I come from the school of, like Will Eisner. One of the biggest things in his book that I gained from storytelling was speed and how you can control the speed the reader goes through a story. And one way to do that is the amount of detail you put in panels. So if you want to slow a reader down, load up a panel with a bunch of detail, because all that detail takes your eye longer to consume, and it can slow you down. But then when you get to like, say, a fight scene, if it's a slugfest, for instance, where there's no, nobody's getting thrown into a wall, it's literally two guys just punching at each other. It's like, well, screw the backgrounds, because fights are fast and that you want to click them through, whap, 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 whap. So at that point, you can do 4 or 5 panels. The dude's just punching and stuff, still moving the camera in and out, but lose the backgrounds once you establish the scene, so you click through it faster. You know, and that's and like, I love George Perez's work, but I think one of the quote unquote bad things is he loves drawing so much that everything is almost the same pacing because there's backgrounds everywhere. You know what I mean?
Your eye never gets to relax.
Relax.
Yeah. Everything's like input, constantly. The thing is, I remember asking George, like, how do you do all these cityscapes? And I said, do you pencil all that stuff out? Or, he goes, when I ink myself, he goes, most of that stuff's not in there. He goes, I just ink it. Like, he's that good. Like, he says, I set up some basic lines, like perspective lines. And then I just kind of ink it within that. He just makes it up. I could never do that. Like, I remember talking to Todd McFarlane, and Todd was like, I just make up the rendering. I just kind of thumbnail everything out, and then I just finish it off with the inks. And I find that really difficult to do. I've done it before, where I just kind of make up rendering without penciling it first. But I always find, like, I need some kind of guideline. Like, I need some indicator to do it. I can't just make it up and draw with the ink. Can you draw with just the ink?
Well, I was going to say, like, buildings, yes. So I always, when people are like, are you fast at inking your own work, or is it easier? The answer is, when it comes to the figures, I pencil probably, if I pencil 100% full pencils for you to ink or somebody else to ink, when it comes to the figure work is probably 85%. So I only pencil like 15% less on the figure work. It's the backgrounds that speed me up when I ink my work, because especially if it's buildings, I can throw in from my perspective grid just the shapes of the buildings, but then most of the windows detail and the faces, I can do all that with ink. So on that first man cover for volume 2, where he's getting punched and there's that down shot of the city, all I had penciled in for that city down shot were the shapes of the buildings, but all the faces I did pretty much straight to ink.
Right.
And that's where I save time. But when if somebody's like, just draw a whole book, no backgrounds, just figures, pencil and ink, it's not going to take me that much. It's not going to save me much time, because I pencil my figures pretty tight just for myself.
I can make adjustments with the ink. I can do that. Like, if I have a guideline, I can make adjustments really easily. And actually, I think you and I talked about this. I make better decisions when I'm inking with a brush than I do with a pen.
Yeah,
with a
so do I.
Yeah. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because you sharpen up. I think because, like, a brush is a dangerous tool, right? Like, there's not a lot of forgiveness with it. So when you put a line down, you're not messing around. But maybe it's just a matter of you're just focusing more. It's more.
I think for me, it really is that mental thing where when I'm penciling, I know I've got the eraser and I can fall back. But when I'm inking, I'm such a I don't want to use whiteout type of person that, and I always do, but it's very minimalistic. Like, I'm not the type of guy where, if you look through those artist editions from like Romita and Kubert, the old guys, and even Gil Kane, you'll see like this big splotch of whiteout on a shoulder, and I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
So I think when I'm inking, it's because I don't want to use whiteout that subconsciously I'm so much more careful of not making a mistake, compared to with the pencil. I'm like, doesn't matter. I got an eraser right here.
Right. I always say, like penciling and writing, it's a process. So you're creating something basically from nothing. So it's a lot of trial and error. You try something, erase it, you write a phrase, you rewrite a phrase. Inking is a performance, There's no going back on it. It's a one-off. So
Yep.
whatever you put down, that's it. There, I mean, you can use whiteout, but true professionals usually don't like to use it because it also takes more time. You
Right.
have to go back, you have to fix something. That means, that's more time, that you're invested in that. And also in this day and age, you got to stay close to these pencilers' lines, or they become prima donnas and they scream.
Dude, that's why I'm lucky, I guess, where I think the tightest penciler, the two tightest people I've ever inked, and it was only like a page or two because the book needed to get out, was at CrossGen. I helped out. I want to say I inked the page over Brandon Peterson, and I know for a fact I inked the page over Jimmy Chung. Both really tight, stylistic pencilers, and you don't stray. And I mean, I love both their guys' work, but I don't want to ink it because it's too hampering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what it's like then the Brandon Peterson thing.
Yeah,
he pencils like an inker. Like it's already inked. Like it's pretty much all there. Like all the thick thins, all the stylistic little things that you would do it just with the pressure of the pen. It's already done. I don't like those kind of jobs either. I really do like the jobs where you can bring your imagination to it. It's a little loose. You can kind of look into it and go, okay, I see what you're doing here, but maybe, I can plus it a little bit if I do this, that, or the other thing. I like stuff like that. And I don't do it much anymore. I don't do it at all anymore. Before, I only do it if I know the penciler really respects what I do. Because I won't go to that extent anymore.
Real quick, your volume, something just happened. Your volume did get louder for like 2 words you said. Like marked it, and I'm being serious. We're an hour and 21 in. At least that's what it's showing here. Mark that down and go back to an hour and 21, right around there, and listen to it, and you'll hear your voice get a little louder and a little crisper, and then it went away really quick.
Okay.
Could mean the connection with your microphone might not be that great, whatever it's plugged into.
Yeah, I checked it here. That's why I muted it. So it's still good on the mic itself, but where it plugs into the computer, it might be a little loose. So I'll check that after. We should probably start wrapping it up anyway.
Okay, before we do, one last thing, going back to jail. Now we're not talking cadavers. Yeah. So when I was in Savannah,
jail.
Dude, when I was in Savannah 2 weekends ago, this guy came up to me, really fascinating. This is why I love talking to fans. He's a little bit older than me. He's in between us. I think he was born in 64. And he works at a jail in Savannah. So right there, my interest is piqued, and I just started bombarding him with questions. And I'll just tell you 2 things that I asked him. One, who's the oldest guy there? And he said it was a guy that actually died. So the oldest guy technically alive now in the jail, he said, is in his 80s. But last year, an inmate was 99 and he passed away. And I said, oh, natural causes? And he goes, no, he actually had cancer. So if he didn't have cancer, he'd probably still be alive and be over 100 and whatever. I said, well, what was he in for? And he said he killed 3 women. And I said, well, when did he get locked up? Because, you get these answers, and I don't know about you, but I just think of the follow-up question. Well, when did he get locked up?
Yeah, you think he's been in there forever, right?
He has.
Okay.
The guy said, this is when I found out how old the guy I was talking to was. The guy goes, well, I was born in 64, and he got locked up in 63. And I said, why'd he kill the women? And how was this guy? And he goes, if you didn't work at the jail and you just met this 99-year-old dude somewhere else, you'd be like, sweetest old man I've ever met. Super nice guy. Never really caused any trouble in prison. I said, well, why'd he kill the 3 women? He goes, they pissed him off. That's what he said. When you asked the guy why he did it, he was just like, they pissed me off.
So did he kill them all at the same time? Was it 3 separate times?
It was 3 separate incidents. So the general rule is, and I know this from watching CSI and crime stuff, is 3 or more, you're a serial killer. But I always thought a serial killer also was basically a hunter from the standpoint of going, okay, I just did this one, blonde hair, 5 foot, and they had patterns. But from what this guy was saying, it literally sounded like 3 different women, and he got away with the first one. And it was just like, do. Oh, this bitch pissed me off. Do. And I don't know what the time frame was between the 3, and neither did he. So that's one thing I asked. The other thing I asked was, when you see on TV, that is it true that there will be people basically in solitary, single cell, so not like a hole, but just, right, a cell. And I also did ask, do they literally have cells with bars? And he's like, no, that's not, they're all doors now with a window and the hand thing, because you got to back up and put your hands out to get cuffed. So I said, is it true that some people are 23 in and 1 hour out during the day? And he goes, oh yeah. And I said, so is it like on TV where when they get that hour, they're all in the yard together? And he goes, oh, no.
That's when trouble starts.
He goes, yeah, basically. He goes, no. He goes, at the prison I work at, they have 2 choices. They can go outside, or they can go into this room. Now I'm going to paint you a picture like he painted for me, which I'm glad he did, because we're visual, right? If they don't go outside, well, I'll explain outside first. Outside is basically, you know what a dog run looks like, right? With the chain link and stuff. So picture a space that's about 6 feet deep and probably about, it's not a square, so probably 4 feet wide. And the dog chain itself is probably 10 feet high with a dog chain ceiling across the top. That is what they go into by themselves outside for 1 hour. No, there's nothing in it. There's not a chair. There's no weights. It's just walk into this kennel, locked up behind, see in an hour, rain or shine.
Well, it makes sense, because every time you see the big courtyards, the basketball courts and all that, and the weights and all that,
but that's
always trouble comes out of those situations.
But that is true for Gen Pop. That's what Gen Pop will be, because in the same prison, there are dormitories. Because I said, well, what's the rest of the place? And he said, oh, we've got dorms where there's 60 beds, bunk beds in one big room, and there's one of us patrolling it at a time. But if you're in that area, they know enough not to mess with you, even though it's one person.
Right.
But then the other thing is, well, what if they don't want to go outside? Well, if they want to stay inside, there's a room, and the only thing in the room, there's 5 things basically in this, or 6 things in this room. One of the things is a TV, and then the other 5 things are basically the size of a phone booth, except the corners are steel poles, and somehow attached to each pole is a big, thick piece of plexiglass. So it's basically a plexiglass phone booth, and inside is a stool to sit on, and all 5 people, they put them in, because there's 5 phone booths, basically, 5 in the room at a time, and they all have to decide together what one TV show they're going to watch for that hour. And he said the only thing inside that thing is a stool for them to sit on while they watch TV. And that's it.
So anybody listening that's thinking about like killing somebody, don't, because
don't do it.
A horrible place. That's a good cautionary tale.
Exactly.
So. Oh, I have to read this. It was Donald DeLay, and he asked Brandon. Brando looks like he's precious about every line he puts down. The work looks that way, but we did an X-Men annual together, Brandon, and we both live in I lived in Southern California. I don't know where he lives now, but he lived in Southern California as well. And the deadline was crazy. So I had Hack Shack Studios was an office. There's 2 rooms. We had a little kitchenette and everything. And so he lived in like Santa Monica or whatever. So he drove down to Anaheim Hills where the studio was. And he hung out for like 3 days. So he spent the night there, everything. And so we just banged out this book. One thing about him is that stuff is tighter than shit, but he's pretty fast.
He is pretty quick.
He's fast. Like for as much detail as that goes into that work, he's just a machine. So he'd be penciling and then he'd be handing off pages to me. And never once did he tell me how to ink it. Did he look over my shoulder? There was nothing like that. So there was always just praise for the work. So I don't know. I mean, he does pencil. Like if you look at his pencils, it looks like he's really precious about it. But when I was working with him, he wasn't that controlling. So either I was nailing it and doing what he wanted, or he just knew the work had to get done and didn't say anything. I don't know, but I didn't have that experience. Did you? You worked with him more than I did, probably, or in the same area.
Well, I mean, we worked in the same building longer. I mean, for 3 years, but I only inked, like I said, maybe a page or two tops. You know, John Dell was his main guy. So
John Dell is so freaking good.
Yeah. But I think page 1 says, I'm pretty sure Brandon is all digital now. And by the way, I'm pretty sure he lives in Texas.
Oh shit, we can hang out now.
Well, Texas is a big state, Art.
It's not that big.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not near you. I think I know the city, but I'm not going to say it on the stream.
I think I worked on that Arcanum book. Side note, Arcanum by Brando looked amazing. He really hit his mark with that style. Yeah, I think I did some work on that. I think it was Bat and myself. All those image books in the day, they were always behind schedule.
I still, I remember the annual you're talking about. I literally got a flash in my head of a couple of those pages because I have it that you and Brando did.
Yeah, it was a cool.
Popped into my head what it was.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. That guy doesn't mess around.
That was when the X-Men team was cool.
It was the cool X-Men team. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think I have 1 page of original artwork left from that.
Dude, I got to ink 4 to 5 pages of Bocello on an issue of X-Men because Tim Townsend was behind. So John Beatty and I pinched inks. We all lived in Orlando at the same time. And I got 2 pages back. I remember for a fact I got 2 pages back. And one of them I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'll sell it. So I sold it. And then I was like, I'm never going to sell this other one because it's the only Bocello page I own, you know. And then it was, you know, probably 15 years ago, some dude made me a really nice offer. And I was like, okay. And I'm still like, damn it, because I don't have a Bocello page anymore.
I sold all my Chris pages. Yeah, I don't have any. No. I think I still do. I have some of the Witching Hour.
Oh, dude, your volume just kicked in nice. And now it went down.
Witching Hour.
Nope, that didn't help. I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mark that time, 1:32, so you can go back and look at the tape.
Look at the tape. Look, we're going to go to the tape. Well, let's share First Man with everybody again. Do you have that there? There it is.
Yeah, it's still there.
Oh, I just removed it. Oh, there it goes.
Bitch.
So, this is Andy Smith's First Man, Volume 2, Learning Curve. So you've already fulfilled the first volume, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's done. It's not in demand anymore or anything. The only way you can get it is through this one. So
let's get Andy to 15K. He's got 200. Is that 38 backers? 14 days left. So he's just about at almost the halfway mark. Is this the first month or where are we at on this campaign?
Yeah, I've got more than 14 days. It's the first 30.
Okay. So you guys get in. Actually, the scroll up so we can see the featured tier.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Hold on. I can get my mouse over here.
Yeah, I think that featured tier is the best. So you get volume 1, volume 2, and the program book, right?
Yep. Program book, 40-page stapled supplemental. The actual books are 64 square bound. So they're nice and heavy, look good on a bookshelf. And there you have it. So
yeah, it looks awesome. 64 pages, full color.
Oh yeah.
And how many more books? Like this is a series, right?
Yeah, I have it. I mean, First Man could keep going. There's always, tales to tell, but there definitely is a third volume I want to do that kind of wraps things in full circle from the first one. So it's like a nice little trilogy.
Sweet. I have to read this.
Oh yeah.
This is going back to your jail conversation. Yeah. I just thought it was funny. Don't go to jail in Latin America.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think most countries outside of the United States, it's probably bad to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still kind of see Tim's posts in
he's
Facebook,
still inking,
Instagram, but yeah,
he inks Chris, but I don't think Tim is. And I could be wrong, but from what I've seen when I go to the shop and stuff, he still inks Bocello, and so he's Chris's. As far as I know, he's still Bocello's main inker, but I honestly don't think Tim does a book a month.
I don't think Tim has ever really done a book a month. I think he's always been like, maybe a 10 to 12 page guy.
I don't know. I think in the beginning, when he first started out, because he had to make that check before royalty started coming in, he was.
Yeah,
but
squeaking by for sure. Yeah.
Squeaking by. But I will definitely think in the past decade or more, he I know his wife has a good paying gig, so.
Yeah, I think he's a house husband. He takes care of the kids and inks his books. Yeah, he's really good though, man. He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we brought him over. I brought him over to help out with Spawn, with the Greg Capullo Spawn. So he did a lot of the backgrounds.
Oh, sweet.
On that book, yeah. So Tim's a good guy. Good.
All right. So the last question I say is Bernardo goes, who's the biggest name you both have inked and who's your dream to ink? I'll let you go first because I got to think about that because I haven't inked nearly as many people or whatever.
I don't know. The biggest name. I mean, the biggest name that comes to mind would be Jim Lee.
I was going to say it's got to be Jim, right?
But who was your dream to ink? I got to ink Kurt Swan.
Yeah, you did that pinup.
Yeah, that was a blast. I got to ink Steve Ditko on a Green Lantern story. Dream inks. You know what? I have to say the most fun I had inking.
Yeah, but this is somebody you've never inked before. He's asking that you'd want to ink.
Who is your dream to ink? Oh, I thought it was just your dream to ink. But so this would be who you haven't inked?
Yeah. Pick somebody that you'd love to be able to ink. I'd say even dead or alive, who cares? But
I always wanted to ink Gil Kane. So if it's dead or alive, a Gil Kane like that I would love to throw some line art and just go to town. And for the same reason is Rick Leonardi, because it's stylized, but it's still kind of open to interpretation.
Oh yeah.
So I think it would probably be Gil Kane though, because it's more childhood stuff. So how about you?
Biggest name I ever inked. I mean, I can say Jim because it was for the Inkwell Awards. So it's a Blue Line thing, but tons of people inked the same piece. But in professional comics, I haven't inked that many people. So if you want to go by name alone, I would have to say probably Chris Bocello because I think he's still a really big name. And look, I could say Bart, but Bart was a big Wizard top 10 guy in the 90s for a long time and stuff. But I think Bocello still carries, he's still working mainstream and he still carries that big name with him, right. Whereas Bart, because he has kind of dropped out of stuff, isn't as big a name. So I'd have to say Bocello. You did ink Art Adams though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say Jim Lee's still bigger than Art? Yeah.
I don't know. That's the problem.
Well, no, because a name that came to mind, and I know you haven't inked him, but if you did, I would say that would almost be bigger than Jim, would be like Frank Miller. Right?
Never got to that would be fantastic.
No, but wouldn't you say if you did ink Frank Miller, you could put him above Jim? Or
yeah,
no?
As far as iconic comic book artists, indeed, yeah. As
and
far
then,
as contribution.
And I guess to ink, I'm not going to say Gil. Gil was on my tip of my tongue because I love Gil's work, so I won't say Gil because you did. You know, I'd have to say Neil. I would love to ink Neil Adams.
You know what? In the day, I think I would have absolutely loved that. But I think I'm so over that style now because I absolutely love that style. Like when I broke into the business, it was Dick Giordano and Neil Adams. You know what I mean? Like that's who I looked at. I think that's why I got the pencil jobs, you know, at DC early on because there was still that vibe. You know, that's in the mid '80s, there was still that kind of Neil. Dick was running DC Comics, and so I fell right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'd like to see what tool would you use to ink Neil?
I can tell you because I've inked a couple of things for my own pleasure over them. I used a brush and I used actually a fine point Sharpie for the rendering.
Really?
Yeah.
So you used.
Would you like to see them?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if you want to buzz out of here or not. Hold on.
Well. I mean, how can I resist this? Also, I do have to put a focus on Black and White Volume 2.
Yeah, go ahead and do that while I'm looking.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see how you handled all the feather work and everything.
Well, these are, yeah, okay. One was penciled from a Superman job he did back in the 70s, so it was that style. And then one was penciled. It was one of the covers that he did. Remember, DC did that thing where they had Neil draw a bunch of covers and different artists ink them.
Right.
I took one of those.
Okay. So this is Black and White Volume 2, Man vs. Machine. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. So if you guys sign up today, you will be eligible for this free trading card with a backing. It only takes a second to be on the mailing list. Just give me your email address, and you will be the first to be notified. So all the early bird specials, all the exclusives, which will sell out quickly, you will have access to them before anybody else. So let's watch this video. Hope my sound is good. Yeah. Yes, indeedy. Do.
Yes.
Yeah, the link is in the description for Black and White Volume 2, Man vs. Machine. Come by. Now we have an echo. I got to put the headphones back on. Yes, so come by, sign up. And like I said, the link is in the description. And we are going to be launching this bad boy very, very soon. So let's see what Andy has. Oh, wow. Look at this thing.
So this is the full page. If I blew it up so you could see it more. So I've got the pencils to this 5-pager. So I inked page 1 and I printed out the logo and the lettering in black, but everything else in blue so I could blue line the inks. But yes, this is brush and a Sharpie fine point pen for the rendering.
So this is old Neil.
This is from like the 70s.
Yeah, see, I think I would be better off with vintage Neil than new Neil. Like that new style, like the way he hatches and stuff. I find it I don't know, I don't like it.
I don't like
Well,
it.
you'll see on the second piece that there's not a lot of that in it. Or maybe I took it out. I don't remember. But
So what is that fool doing? He's polluting.
he is.
Son of a bitch.
Exactly.
He looks like Lex Luthor.
I know. So, and his big
He's got his giant polluting what is that, like hose?
That's right. Coming from behind. God knows what the hose is attached to, but
Yeah, it's coming right out of his arm. Like his
I know.
whole arm is just filled
I
with
know.
That's weird, man.
It's so weird. It's so weird. But
he's not holding something. It's actually coming out.
No, it's attached. It's freaking attached, man.
Oh, Neil.
That's the 70s for you. So that's the one thing. And
This
then,
looks fantastic, Andy.
thanks. Like I said, he's a guy that if I could, I'd still ink something over him if I could. But chances are that'll never happen. So that was for fun.
Okay, I have to ask you, did you just ink this blindly, like not look at anything else while you were inking it? Or...
Yeah, no, I ink it. When I ink over somebody else, I generally always ink it blindly because I don't want to be influenced by anybody else.
Yeah, I do the same. If I do, I'll look at it first, a couple hours before I start, and then I'll just set it aside.
Yeah, no, I try not to do that. Because I have usually when I look at somebody else's pencils, I just get this. It's funny when I look at my stuff, I don't get this vision in my head, like the final vision. But when I look at somebody else's pencils, I get like this final vision in my head of what it should look like, and I just go to it. But then the other thing is, where is it? Oh, right here.
Wow.
Same thing, just brush and.
You nailed the face. I mean, it's a Neil Adams face.
Thanks.
I actually like this. Is this newer stuff?
Yeah, this is from when he did all those covers that month.
I like this better than when he inks himself.
He goes crazy when he inks himself.
Yeah, he goes nuts.
He goes crazy with the rendering. And I'm just like, I stuck to most of the rendering he did, and I added a little bit of my own technique to it. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I like that kind of more, I don't know, lack of a better term, old school.
Yeah.
Like ink work, yeah. So this is all a brush, or is this
the outlines are brushed, but literally all the rendering is a fine point Sharpie.
How did you get the thin to thicks? Did you have to
flick it? No, I flick it away from me. And then sometimes my hand moves pretty quick, so I flick it away, and then I'll go back and just do it again at the base to give it the thickness.
You're not talking about like the old school like fine tip Sharpie, are you? Or is this like a different type of Sharpie?
Well, they make a fine point Sharpie now, which is, I believe, if you were to put a size on it, because it doesn't say the size, but I believe it's like a 0.03 if you compared it to a micron. And it says right on the packaging, no bleed. So it doesn't bleed either.
Okay, so this isn't the type of pin I'm thinking of. So this is because even a Sharpie, you can get a thick to thin with it if you move it fast enough, but it starts graying out towards the end, if you move it too fast.
Yeah. No, this is the fine point. Yeah, I mean, I have one over at my desk, but it's like a 0.3, 0.03, and it's not like the bullet point. It's just a thin, 0.03, same size, whatever.
Well, this is really nice, Andy.
Thanks. I actually sold this one at a convention to a guy.
I don't know if I took that kind of time out and inked a Neil Adams, I think I would keep it for myself.
Nah, I'm not attached to this stuff. That's the thing. Like, I keep my art, but when it comes to stuff like this, I'm like, well, I've got the scan. I still have the Superman page I showed, and that's just because nobody's bought it yet. But I still have it.
I'm just the opposite. Like this stuff would mean more to me, and I'd want to keep it.
Oh, no, this stuff doesn't. I inked the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez Green Lantern for fun, just last year in downtime. But no, I sell this stuff. This stuff doesn't mean nearly as much to me as my stuff. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's go back. Yeah, so this has been a blast hanging out with you,
Yeah,
Andy.
man.
It's I'm so glad that you're part of Comicsgate.
You know
I
it.
always liked all your posts, on Facebook and Twitter and everything. So I always followed your work, and I knew that you were independent minded. So
Oh, yeah.
it's really great to see you over here now. And yeah, everybody go out, Back First Man, Volume 2, Learning Curve. It looks fantastic, and Andy delivers, man. So you don't have to worry about. Hey, wait a minute, I noticed the sound difference. Wow.
I didn't notice it just now. I haven't heard any difference just now.
You know what? Wait, hold on. Is that better?
I don't notice any difference. No.
You don't notice any difference?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's feedback.
Honestly, just go back to like an hour 2018 or something and listen, and you should hear pretty good difference in a couple words. It came and went, but you'll hear it.
Yeah, I think I'll just check where it plugs into the computer. Sorry about that, you guys. So yeah, so we got First Man and Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine. The pre-launch page is in the description. Click on that. Give me your email address, and you'll get a free trading card and access to early bird specials and exclusives. And we will be launching that bad boy very, very soon. And in the meantime, I don't know, check out John Malin's First Man, or not First Man. I mean,
at this point, honestly, at this point, when you see John's campaign skyrocket like it did, my mindset is I want to keep talking about it. Obviously, we both have ours that we want to pimp, but I want to talk about his because I want to see, records break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm under no illusion. Hopefully, at some point, I will. But as of right now, it's my First Man 2. It's going to go well. It's not going to break a record. But when somebody like John's and Ethan's do what they do, you want to see them break a record.
So. Yeah, I like that, and I like. For me, it's like it's something to work towards. Totally. That this stuff people can do it. I don't know if you were like me. Like when I was younger, it was always like if I saw somebody do it, then it was like maybe I could do it.
Oh yeah.
So like when you're trying to break into the comics and you don't know anybody that works in the industry or anything like that, you just think like it's just a billion miles away, and then. You find somebody, it's like, oh, this guy did it, and I know him. Like at a convention, you're going up the ranks together, and all of a sudden that guy's working professional. Then it's accessible.
Yeah.
And so I always thought that as well. Like when people ask me, like, could Image ever happen again? It's like, well, it happened once. Why couldn't it happen again? So that's how I feel, and I think that Comicsgate is kind of it's somewhat happening again.
And not to get off on a totally another tangent, because we both, I know, have work to do. When I hear people ask, could Image happen again? I'm with you, and I go, well, why not? Because one, Image has now been around. Next year is going to be 30 years. So it's not this new thing anymore. Like 5 years in, if somebody's like, oh, could Image happen again? You're like, what are you talking about? It's only 5 years old.
Right.
But 30 years, I mean, Dark Horse is 35 years old, I think. They're celebrating right now. So, I mean, Image to me is just part of the landscape. It's not, obviously it's not new.
Yeah,
so
it's not cutting edge.
Something has to pop. And I think it can be the whole Comicsgate movement and indie comics that we do and stuff.
I completely agree. I've said it before. I hope it's not like an early demise, but I want to retire here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to go back to the mainstream. There's nothing there I really want to do. I mean, if the bottom falls out and, I have to, then, and they still want me, I'll do it. But like, I really love being here. I love hanging out with, like-minded people like yourself, the chat, and doing books that I believe in. That I really want to do. And we've both done this, like you work in the mainstream and then still like at night working on, your dream jobs, working on First Man or Chrono Mechanics or Black and White or whatever it is, burning the candle at both ends. And that's dedication. And the thing is now it's viable to make money. You know what I mean? Like before, because I was just working for myself, hoping that there would be, maybe I'd go to Image, maybe I would sell, 1,000 books, or whatever it would be,
Right.
and then not really making any money, but never really quitting my day job. But now with Comicsgate, you actually can make a living. If you hustle, you work hard enough, these books are actually selling, enough that you could, make ends meet. And that is fantastic. And there are people that are making more than ends meet. They're making millions, and they're creating empires. And that's fantastic. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to be that you can dream again. You can actually, I feel like there's a new frontier. There's something that we can conquer. There's something that we can work towards, where I haven't had that in a long time in this industry. It just felt like spinning your wheels, doing the same thing over and over again. It doesn't feel like that right now. So I'm really just so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed that people in the chat are willing to, to back these projects and hang out with us. So indeed.
Totally.
All right, man.
Cool.
So we have a professionals this week, and that is going to be on my channel. So I haven't told anybody this, but you'll be the first. I want to do Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I want to do.
Yeah, I already got the wheel spinning for images to search for on Google, so I can share a screen and go, love this.
Yeah, I think it'll be good because then we can bring in visuals. And what's interesting is I think Graham and I are more like from the same generation, but we're all different ages. So we're going to get to see like what had impact on all of us. Because I think we all grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. I'm trying to think the youngest person in the group is
Dan, but he did too because he's only 4 years younger than me. So
we all grew up on Saturday morning cartoons. It was an event, man. It was an event. You woke up, early. You popped the tube on. You ate your cereal in front of the TV until Wide World Sports came on, and then your dad took over the TV from you. But yeah, I want to do that. I think that'll be a blast, and we'll like kind of come up with like top 3. And maybe some stinkers. I think it'd be fun to come up with some like really bad, like Jabberjaws or something. Like, I don't know. I don't want to step on toes, but maybe Grape Ape. That was not a strong one.
Grape Ape.
But it'll be a blast. So we're gonna do that. And that's this Thursday.
Yep.
Thursday night, and that'll be on my channel. All right, you guys, go sub Andy Smith, back his book. Sub if you haven't my channel. And sign up for Black and White Volume 2. And also, you guys, thank you so very much for turning Chrono Mechanics into the big success that it was. I do appreciate it, man. You guys are the best. Take care and enjoy the rest of your